The Flowmaster Flow FX will be for the 11 to 14 3.5 EcoBoost owners who want to go with an iconic brand to help produce that deep and aggressive tone, along with a very cool appearance thanks to the black tip. Now, this made in the USA Flow FX system will combine that full stainless steel build with Flowmaster's straight through muffler and ceramic tip, all for right around that low $600 price point. Install according to the site, guys, gonna get a strong 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter here. Take about an hour or maybe a little bit more depending on your expertise, but as always, hang with me for a little bit and we'll show you how it's done later in the video. So the Flow FX is a newer addition to Flowmaster's well-established lineup and one of their only systems, guys, that will feature an internally packed muffler as opposed to the traditional chambered or non-packed mufflers we're used to seeing from the American-made brand. Now, those past systems are more iconic systems that you guys probably know, or things like the Force 2, the American Thunder, and of course the category screamer Flowmaster Outlaw, which does feature a straight-through muffler with metal baffles welded into place. And that brings me to the Flow FX. And honestly, I really like the tone from the system. It is a bit different from some of the other Flowmaster options you probably have heard in the past. You are still getting a very aggressive sound, but it's not quite as unruly as something like the Outlaw, for instance. Now, on top of that, the Flow FX muffler and its packing tend to take some of the bite off the tone. So yes, you're getting a lot of bark here out of the EcoBoost specific system, but it's still maintaining a deep tone. It's not too raspy or anything like that. So breaking out the Wake the Neighbor scale, guys, I had the Flow FX coming in at a solid 3 out of 5 on my 1 to 5 or 1 to Wake the Neighbor scale here with the 3.5 EcoBoost. 5 liter gets a little bit more volume. I feel like it has a little bit more bark, but because of the nature of the EcoBoost itself, I think it's toned down just ever so slightly. Now, inside the truck, at idle, you hear kind of a low thumping noise. While cruising, it's pretty quiet, but when you're really hammering on the truck, you are really gonna hear this thing on the inside, guys. That's just something you should be aware of before pulling the trigger. But outside of your sound, Flowmaster is also delivering what I would say is a very solid build here at the Flow FX. This does include the full stainless steel construction, 409 grade stainless to be exact. You're looking at 3-inch mandrel bent tubing, and then all exiting again out of your single 4-inch tip. You're looking at a ceramic black coating here. It's gonna protect that steel underneath for a long time, and it is embossed with the Flowmaster logo. Now, this particular option does exit in the factory location. So again, that's gonna be right behind your passenger side rear tire. And the combination of the slightly polished stainless steel tubing and that ceramic black tip, I think make for a very nice combination. But now we want to shift gears and get into the install, and the site's going to call this one a pretty strong 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. You know, sometimes they call these things 2 out of 3. This time around, they're calling it 1 out of 3 wrenches. I would say it's going to be a strong 1 out of 3 wrenches, depending on how rusty your factory bolts are. I would say leave yourself, again, at least an hour according to the site, more than likely probably 2, depending on just how fast you like to work. But now to give you a better idea of just how everything comes together, feel free to check out our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
First install, you need a 3/8 impact, 3/8 ratchet, 3/8 extension, a 15, 14, 13, and 10 millimeter swivel socket, 14 millimeter wrench, exhaust hanger tool, spray lubricant, and also not showing me a lift and pull jacks. All right, today we're going to be installing an exhaust on our F-150. First, we'll watch a quick video how to uninstall a stock system, then we'll come back here to install the new one.
Now, the first step here for the uninstall is to grab a 13 millimeter swivel socket. I find to be the easiest solution. If you do have a short socket, a 13 millimeter short socket, that will also do the trick. I think this just makes life a little bit easier. What we're gonna do is remove the 2 13 millimeter bolts holding on this factory flange right behind our resonator. Now, once we have those 2 removed, we'll basically remove one other bracket holding an isolator to the frame, and from there we'll be able to pop everything out with our hanger removal tool. So, step number 1, let's get these 2 bolts out. So now I've got my 10 millimeter swivel socket. I'm gonna remove these 2 bolts. You wanna keep in mind that this is gonna start to lose some of its weight, so you wanna have a hand on it so it doesn't drop down on top of you, but there are still a lot of points of connection. The next step, I'm gonna use a hanger removal tool just to make life a whole lot easier, to just pinch and pop out all of these hangers from the isolators on the frame. I got my buddy Andrew here to help me out because it will come down all in one piece. Now, if you're working on the ground, it's not too big of a problem to just have it fall right on the cement, but we have it up in the air. I don't wanna get bonked in the head, so I'm gonna use this and my buddy to help me out here. So we're gonna pinch this out, pull it out in one piece. So it seems like all of our hangers are pretty rusted. They're giving me a lot of trouble. So what I'm gonna do is treat them just like we treated our first bracket. Just use my 10mm socket. I'll remove all the bolts holding them from the frame and bring them down and remove them off the truck. Might make lives a little bit easier. If yours are coming out of the hanger isolators, that's great. But for us, giving us a little trouble, so we'll just pop them all off of the frame.
Now that our factory exhaust is off, we just need to remove our hangers to swap them over to our new exhaust. Now, since they are stuck in there a little bit, I use a little bit of spray lubricant, spray on either side of the hanger, and use our exhaust hanger tool and pull them off. I already did that on the rest of them, just doing that first one here. We get these off. All right, now those are ready to go back onto the truck. So we're gonna start with our front flange pipe up here. As you see, I have pole jack just to help hold it up in place. I'm gonna get that lined up with our front flange. Now we have new hardware to go in, so we're gonna grab our bolt with a flat washer. I'm gonna put that through the front side. And on the back side, we're gonna do another flat washer, the lock washer, and then our nut. We're just gonna leave these loosely installed until we come back and tighten everything at the end. So now we can get our muffler on. So we're gonna get our first hanger on. Now we're gonna go into our front location here. We're gonna get our clamp that has our hanger built in. That's slid into our factory mount. We'll get our two 10mm bolts threaded in. Then we can go ahead and tighten those two down. So we're gonna grab our impact, extension, and 10mm swivel socket and tighten that down. So we're gonna get our muffler on now. You see I already have one of our clamps over the end. We'll just slide that into our front pipe. Now, since our truck is a super cab with a 6.5 foot bed, we don't need our extension pipe. But if you need your extension pipe, that's when it would go in now. We're gonna get that on. We can get our back section on. So we're gonna get our back section ready to go on. We're gonna put our two factory hangers on. We have our one with our single mount. We'll go in the front here, and then this one will go in the back. You need to get some more spray lubricant just to make them slide a little bit easier. And now we can get them up in the truck. We already have one of our clamps on the back of our muffler here. Just gonna get this pipe up in place. I'll get a couple bolts in our mounts, and we can go ahead and tighten them down. All right, so we got that in our muffler. Get our hangers up in place. Get this back one up in place. Let's get a bolt started. So we're at our back hanger here. We're gonna get our second bolt in, and then we'll go ahead and tighten this one down. Every impact, extension, and 10mm swivel socket. And then the other one on the back hanger. Then go ahead and tighten down your middle hanger here. So we're gonna start tightening our exhaust down, starting at the front. We just wanna make note that the curve of the pipe will curve out towards the outside of the vehicle and then straight back. Now we're gonna grab our 14mm swivel socket and a 14mm wrench and tighten our two front bolts down. So for our front clamp hanger here, we're gonna grab a ratchet and 15mm socket, just because I can't fit my impact in here. Let's go ahead and tighten that down. Come to our front muffler clamp, we're gonna grab our impact 15mm socket, tighten that down. Just wanna make sure that your muffler is level too. We have our last clamp here at the back of our muffler. Same thing, impact and 15mm. Last thing is our tip. We're gonna get that slid on. Get that slid on at how far of you want. So that's just adjustable. Get it level. I'm gonna grab a 14mm swivel socket and 14mm wrench and tighten that down. And that wraps up our install of our Flowmaster FlowFX single exhaust system with a black tip for a side exit for a 2011 to 2014 3.5 liter EcoBoost F-150. And remember, for everything F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.